Dear friends, welcome to my video. In this video, I'll show you how to create your own OCR, Optical Character Recognition Android app, and convert the text into speech. So let's begin. As usual, I'll keep a very simple layout. I'll just name it as OCR, Optical Character Recognition. Yeah, you can name it anything over here and then just click finish. We'll wait for the environment to come up. Once the environment is up, this kind of window should come up in your Android Studio. Before we begin anything, we'll just include one of the new implementation in the build.gradle file. This implementation will be required to read the text. It's provided by Google Vision API. So what we'll do is we'll just implement. So implementation of com.google. So you can also find the list of this APIs in the Play Store, Google Play Services. So we will be using Play Services Vision, and the latest version right now is 19.0.0 is as far as I know, and that's what we can use. I think there is an extra space here which may create a problem, and then we'll click on sync now and wait for some time to it configure successfully. If by any chance you have not you want to know which is the latest version of this service or API, then you can just hover over here and then it will prompt you the latest version which is available. Okay, so once done this, we can then move to the probably our manifest file, and in manifest file we'll need a permission for camera. So that's the only permission we will need, because we will need the camera permission to read the text or the image from our layout, and then we can start the layout. But before that, I'll just quickly also define one of the public void button start. So this will trigger my this reader or OCR, you can say in short, optical character recognition. So once we have done this, and then we can move to our layout. So layout, I'll try to keep it very simple. So we will also convert the text into the speech, but I will leave this text part as it is, because probably we will also print what is printed or what is read by our OCR, the recognizer. I'll just give it an ID. Probably you can give it any ID. I will give it OCR itself, or sorry, text view itself, and then I'll put a button which will trigger it. So button, I can put button any ID. You can put a start, and over here a start reading. Yes, you can again I'll repeat, you can name it anything. And yeah, once you have done this, probably you should give some constraints, and that's all. I think in this also, I think since it's a constraint layout, I think I will prefer to give constraints which will hold this text view somewhere in the middle below the button. So I just remove the initial constraints whatever they have given, and then now I'm putting it like this. Yeah. So once done this, now there is few warnings. I think this is for hard coded text, so you can just click here and it will create a resource in the strings files. So that's all. And now, yeah, one more thing we'll need is we will need one more layout, because to print or we will have to create a surface view for our camera operations. So we'll just do or create quickly one more new layout resource, and we will name it anything, say for example surface view. Yes, please note that you should always keep the resources in the small letters. Capital letters are not allowed. And here we can just search for surface view and bring it, and probably we can just make it a bigger as per your convenience. You can make it full size also, full screen size also, but I think I'll prefer to keep it somewhere this much is sufficient. I'll again give some constraints here, and that's all. ID is already given. There is no nothing I'm giving as a hardcore text, so that should be fine. Okay, now okay, one thing I missed out over here is in the start reading, in the on click method, I have to ensure that I use this button start, because whenever I click this button, the respective button start should be triggered from my layout. Okay, so once done this, So in the Java code we'll need certain class variables, so we'll quickly define. So one is the text view to refer to the text view widget what we added in our layout. The other is surface view, probably again this will point to the surface view that we have defined in our layout. And apart from that, probably we will need one camera source, camera source. So probably we'll have to include this or import this particular library in our this code. Just press alt enter and it will take care. Similarly, we'll need a text recognizer. This is also a part of the library which we just implemented. So recognizer, if the spelling is wrong, it may create a problem. Again press alt enter and it will take care. I think that's all. So I'll just repeat. So this line is very important, because unless you implement this in your this app, in your project, it won't get the necessary or required APIs, the Google Vision APIs in your project, and you'll be struggling with these things. Okay, so the final thing is the string result, the where the results will be captured, and I think initially I'll put it null. So that's all. In our own create method, I think we should make sure that we have the permission, or we seek the permission from the user for the camera. So request permission, and here the context will be of course this, and the new string, and here I can put manifest.permission dot camera and package manager permission granted. Perfect. Over here, before we proceed, we can just quickly add a static import so that this becomes shorter and respective. Okay, I think I missed out. I'll again press alt enter and I'll just click here. So and respective this one is imported here for camera. I think this is of no use. I'll again press alt enter here and optimize import so that the imports which are not required are deleted off. So what we can also have is our text to speech recognizer. We can initialize it here, but before we initialize, probably I'll just create one variable text to speech. So that will be again my class variable, and text, no, not text to speech, and new text to speech, and then I have to just give the context which will be this, and new text to speech on init initializer. So I won't get into details. You should watch my other videos for this. But over here on in this method on init, you can set the configuration or the details or the kind of settings you want to set for your text to speech API. But I leave it default here, which is I think English language and with some default speed. Okay, so once on create method is done, I think I will also need an on destroyed method. So I will just on destroyed. I'll just, for the time being, I'll just, so we will use this on destroy method later. I will proceed. So now we will do our main code, which will be a public void, and then we can probably say it as our text recognizer method. And yeah, this is the main method where we will do our text recognition from the image, which will be a scan. Okay, and in our button start, what we'll do is we'll probably set the, we have to do two things. First is we have to switch the layout to this surface view so that our surface is shown for camera to be able to work. So we'll set first the layout r.layout.surface view, and then we can just call this text recognizer method what we have just now called above. So in this text recognizer, first thing what we'll do is we'll first create our text recognizer, because over here we have just declared it, but we have not defined it. So we'll just initialize it. So new text recognizer dot builder, and then over here get application context dot build. So here there is some problem. I think this brackets won't be there. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so once we have done it, then we will also define our camera source. So here again our new camera source dot builder get application context, and we will give our text recognizer as and then we can go for build, but we can also, I would like to set one thing here, and the requested preview size. So this will help me to configure my dimension. So you can try with different dimensions. Here I am trying with the one which I usually use, so 1280 by 1024, and that's all. And then we can do a build. So once our camera source is defined, now we can start, or we can first get the surface view. So find view by id r.id dot I think it was by the same name, surface view. And also now in on destroy, what we can do is since our camera source has been defined here, we can call before like in this one camera source dot release. Yes, so whenever there is a destruction, so camera source should be released. Okay, so once we have done this, now what we can do is we can start camera surface view. So what we can do, surface view dot get holder add callback, and over here we can call the surface holder dot callback. I think that should be fine. Yes, so here in the when the surface is created, then we can start the camera, and we can also give the surface view dot get holder as an argument to this. So there is some error. Let me hover over this, and it says that I should surround it with try catch. So I'll just click on this and it will take care automatically. Whenever surface is changed, I don't think I'll need this method as of now, because I'm not planning to change the surface. And whenever the surface is destroyed, that time I think probably I should make sure that we stop the surface camera source. Yes, so once done this, now we can start the processor for our text recognizer dot set processor new. Yes, so whenever any detection is happen, it will come to this receive detection, and whenever the release is happen, it will come to here. So I don't think we need release. We'll just do all our processing in this receive detection part. So whenever the detection is happen, it will come as a text blocks in the detection variable. So over here we can start creating our sparse array. So sparse array, and it will be text blocks, and we can name it as sparse array again, equal to detections dot get detected items. Yes, so this will give me the array of the items which are detected. And now we can probably build a string builder equal to new string builder, and what is next is we can then iterate through one by one the items which are received in the detection. So I less than sparse array dot size plus plus I. Yeah, so in this we can now have our one of the text block, because we can extract it equal to, and from this sparse array we can just have the ith term to extract the individual text blocks. I think I missed out giving that value at, so we should also give the value, then only we should give the index in the text blocks. Okay, so and if so this text block is not null, and dot get value is also not null. So then what we can do is we can just make sure that we in string builder we append what we just now got. So we can have text block dot get value plus, and we should separate it by some kind of like either you can put a comma or something like that, but yeah, space is the best. So once we have it, so this is the part, or this line of the code will make sure that whatever is detected gets converted into a string builder over here. Now what we can do over here is, in the detection itself, we can read this whatever is stored in the string builder into a string message and then pass it on as a global variable, which we have just now defined in the class variable over here on the top, like string results. Okay, so coming back down here, what we can do is we can first have our string and string full text. We can just convert it to the whatever we got just now, string builder and dot toString. That's all. Yeah, so once we have it, then we can have quickly a handler which will convert this, or which will read the messages in the main loop, because the messages will be streamed continuously, so we have to get it post. And in the runnable, or we can define a new runnable here for that purpose, and in the run, first I'll give a semicolon here to close it, and in the run, now the thing becomes simple. What we can do is we can just have our this string result equal to string full text, just know what we defined above, and or I can just have a string text. Yes, and then what we can do is we can switch to the original layout or the initial layout, which is activity main. So we can either do it directly over here, or we can call another method. So probably I'll just quickly define another method here, private, and so this gives me an opportunity, this method, that we can do something more here. Private void result obtain, you can name it anything, again I'll repeat, and we can call this over here, because this is anyway a class variable, so access, we can have this access in this method also. I think I missed out D here, obtain, and now I can just call this over here, result obtain. Yes, so once we are done over here, I think in this result obtain method, what we can do is, first thing we can do is we can set the content view back to the layout of activity main, because we don't want to remain in this surface view, and we have to show our results as well. And then we have another variable called text view. Text view, we'll do find view by id, r dot id dot, I think, text view, and we can then set the text view, set text, and whatever text we got here as a string result, that's what we can set here. And last is that we can convert this text into the speech also. So we have anywhere define our speech variable, text to speech variable, so we can just use this, and then we can use speak to speak out the result. And I think it also needs some kind of mode, so sorry, not text to speech, and we'll go for, we can go for flush. So this means that it will just flush out each time if there is nothing else. So, and the rest of the arguments I can keep it null. And I think more or less that's it. Now we can start testing our app, whatever we just built quickly. I'll just quickly have a look that all the things looks fine over here. Yes, so all the things looks fine. Now we can run it. So I will be using one of the emulator here to run it. So once the emulator comes up, this kind of window comes up, and it's asking for me to take permission. Of course you should allow, and then you can click on this button, because in this button we have initiated this method here, button start, which will call the TextRecognizer indirectly. And once you click here, it will take you to a
hi, how are you?
Yeah, so if you noticed, it just spoke, hi, how are you? And if you notice over here, I have already have a pre-defined
Hi,
image
how are you?
in my camera. So if you are wondering how I did in the emulator, I can just quickly show. So go here, and in this camera option of this extended controls, you have to give the image here, and you can also choose something else over here. Say for example, So if I have to change the image, just go here, and then I have also defined one more image. Hi, how are you? This I have written myself on a simple image by hand written. This is, so I just want to see this also, that whether my this text to image recognizer can read this. So hi, how
Hi,
are you?
how are you?
So if you have noticed, it was not very accurate. It says hi to audio, so probably my H is not very clear to the
Hi,
recognizer.
how are you?
No, it's still how to audio.
Hi,
So
how are you?
yeah, so it is not able to read this H over here very correctly. But if I switch back to the original one, which is machine written, which is typed by in a computer language, so if I read this, hi,
Hi, how are
how
you?
are you? Yeah, so this is very correctly, it is able to read this. Okay, so that's all I wanted to show you. So yeah, so this is very simple. I mean, if you are wondering how I have done it in emulator, just have an image, predefined image, and then include this on wall or table, and then in your camera view just go and set your focus on the wall. Okay, so that's all from my side. I will try to put this app even on Play Store and give the link of that Play Store once I do it in my comment below. And so just I wanted to show you the steps, which is very simple here, to include a text recognizer which recognizes a text from any image. The key point over here is to include this Google Vision service over here, as I have shown. And I hope this video is useful to you, and if you have any questions or suggestions, then please put in the comment section, and if you like this video, then please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching and have a nice day. Bye.